Namaste and welcome to the session number 4 of this course on Dhyana-Upasana as prescribed in Sankhya and Yoga Darshan. Let me bring out my slide here. A quick review of what we discussed last week. Mind in Sankhya, that has 3 components, Buddhi, Ahamkara and Manas. We have translated into English as intellect, storehouse and linkage. So schematically, this is what I am, me, and closest to me is my intellect that displays something and does something more than that, and I am always watching it. It is a 5-dimensional screen, so to say. It brings to me sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch in real time. And also I process this information, knowledge called thinking, and come to a conclusion that is its discriminative power. And then I am also able to, as we saw it last week, take a decision what I ought to do in my action mode. So all those things happen here in the intellect. Okay. Then next to it is Ahamkara. We have translated as intellect in original term by Kapil in Sankhya is Buddhi. The second unit is Ahamkara, which I have translated as Storehouse, that has all the past data, not only in the current life, but even from past life. So that explains why even sometimes twins have different personalities, because their past life was probably different. And then we have within this mind domain a device that is linkage. Original Sanskrit term by Kapil is Manas. It has 5 inlet ports here and 5 outlet ports. 5 inlet ports to acquire knowledge signals that are coming from 5 sensory organs. And outlet ports activate our motor organs. This is thin arrow because it is one at a time. When we are too concentrated, I see something and somebody told me, spoke some words, then I miss them out, then I will say, I heard you, but I was not listening to you, because I was very much concentrated in capturing the data signal coming from the sight organ. But whereas activation of motor organ is concerned, there is multiple tasking. As we know it, I am walking, so I have activated my locomotion, what Sanskrit term is pad. But I can also speak to somebody, my speech organ, by phone, or somebody is walking along with me. And also I can take out something from by my hand, from my pockets, that is hasta manipulation, etc. So, we are accustomed to this thing. We can do multitasking when it comes to action, motor organs. And we discussed last time, yes, decision making is here, what I want to do. But if it is something I have done in the past, say like I have many years of driving experience, I sit on the driver's seat, rotate the ignition key and engine gets started. Say I drive few couple of kilometers. Once I am on a highway, I just pick up a lane and I just want to be very like an autopilot. Now at that point, probably my storehouse that has a lot of all the data, how my driving skills, etc., for so many years, all those impatience are there, then that takes over. So what we will say, a conscious mind is functioning when I am beginning to take a driving in the traffic area. But when I am on a highway and it is like very clean drive, then my subconscious mind, that is driving, and I can talk to somebody on phone or talk to my neighbor, discuss many things. So, this is a conscious action. This is subconscious action. So conscious action is of course one at a time, but subconscious action, there is a multitasking. So these are some of the things we had discussed. Of course, as I have pointed out 2 weeks ago, one pillar of this was out of the four significant pillars. One is a correct interpretation of the Kapil's component called Ahamkara as storehouse of all the previous data, previous knowledge, previous experiences, previous actions of the current life as well as of the past life. So all that is, this is a very important part of this particular course. I have not seen any modern book where this has been explained in a correct manner. So we supported all this by original Sankhya statement from second chapter. And today we will continue with the second part of the second chapter, where you will see further evidence of what we have talked, particularly about Ahamkara. So we talked last time, Ahamkara has Abhiman, is its images. Then we said Abhiman is also used as a synonym for Ahamkara in most of the Indian languages, but Abhiman has a technical meaning. Then I showed a lot of words and from etymology. So all this we have covered, and Storehouse, Ahamkara has past knowledge, that is technical term is Smriti, past experience, technical term is Vasana, past action is Sanskar. But this term Sanskar is used for past action and that impatience of past action, as well as for the impatience of past knowledge, experience, and action, depending on the context. Somebody I will request, please be on mute so that there is no background sound. Okay, so then we talked about Sankhya statement 33 in second chapter, that exactly in the same manner Vitaya Panchataya Klesa. Klesa appears also in Yoga, first chapter, fifth statement. And I pointed out, this is very important, the images on the Buddhi is of 5 times. That we'll see more when we look at Yoga philosophy, and those 5 types are, as I get it, as I interpret them, but they originate from Ahamkara, and even Ahamkara has many kinds of sanskars. Some certain sanskars are called as Klesa, which is taking birth from misconception, avidya. And those, if they are the cause of the images, the Vrttis, then it is called Klishtvritti. And otherwise it is Aklishtvritti, like you are trying to understand Sankhya and Yoga. This is Aklishtvritti, whatever is appearing on your mind at this point of time. So Klishtvritti puts us in a cycle that I get into bhog, so to say, experience that can be pleasure or pain, and then that has an impression. That impression further guides me again for next action, and then I do certain actions to maximize pleasure and minimize pain. And that action again brings its reward from the law of karma. So that reward will again make some experience. So this karma and karma fall experience, pleasure or pain, they become a cyclic. This part we will look at it again some few weeks later. So this is Klishtveti that puts us, so we have to take birth again in this world. While Aklistveti, like we are trying to learn from Sankhya and Yoga, that how to, that is called, you know, actually the final destination is moksha or upward. So that is Aklistveti. So this is what we discussed last time. And here I pointed out, if you look at books on yoga or Sankhya and this particular statement, Klist is misinterpreted as giving birth to Klesh, and then those authors sometimes make second error by saying Klesh means dukh. And then I pointed out Patanjali himself in second chapter points out what is Klesh. Avidya, Asmita, Agdvesha, Vinivesh, Panch Klesha. So you cannot translate Klesh as dukh, though this word is also in common Indian languages for pain and misery, dukkha, etc. But it is a technical term in Patanjali Yoga, or even in Sankhya, or even in Vedas and Vedic philosophy. Incidentally, the Hindi translation I have sent you for Vyas Bhashya and etc. by one author, Swami Vijayanashyam, he is also, he is one of the who makes these two errors. Wherever it is Klishtveti, he just routinely writes it is causing pain and misery. So please be aware of it when you read some books on yoga, etc. Okay, let's move on to the. So today we want to see the second section of the second chapter of Sankhya up to its end. So from 33 we have already covered. Now we will go one by one up to 47. It may look slightly fast, but you have this recording and you can review it as many times as you want it. So there should not be a problem. I again show you the Sankhya diagram. So we are looking at now 5 types of images that appear on Buddhi, on intellect. That was 33 statement. And that was saying it originates from one kind of sanskar that are clubbed as klesh and another kind of sanskar that are not klesh type, non-klesh. So they may both kind of, all these images pop out from Storehouse. And that should not be surprising. As you know, when we go to sleep, when we dream, then also the same thing is happening. A lot of things are popping out from this, and at that time we are helpless. And the same thing happens when I am in, when we are in, what to say, when we are in meditation. So, we are struggling to bring this skin calm, quiet, blank, but something is appearing there. So that's why we are learning Sankhya and Yoga, how to calm our mind so that finally it is blank. So that is called Niruddhavastha, blank mind. But that is not that easy to get. So we are attempting an intermediate state that is called Ekagyavastha, one pointed. That is called Dhyan. So final blank mind is called Samadhi, and before that is Dhyan. So in our scheme, that is step number 5, and last is step number 6. So step number 5 is one single image that just stays there as if it is sticking there for a good length of time. Then I am in Dhyan. And I pointed out that in the world, people do meditation classes and all that. They don't have single image here. They have a kind of a cinema. like so-called guided meditation. The teacher is speaking out a sentence and the practitioner is listening to that sentence. So sentence is a, it's a, it's a, it's an ensemble of words and you are processing them, you are thinking. So you are actually in your mind is very active, is functioning. It is not even, it's far away from meditation. But or somebody is listening to a music or somebody is observing his breathing, going up and down and out or in. So all these things are happening. So they are nothing to do with dhyana or meditation. Or meditation, I am willing to call it mindfulness because the intellect is filled with one image. But people are using the word even mindfulness in a very loose manner. So you should all be aware of all these things. So the next statement will be how I get rid of it. That's what Patanjali is saying, yoga chittavritti nirodha. So you will see, Sankhya is also talking the same thing. But why then there are two books? These things I will explain a few weeks later. Now we enter into second part of the second chapter of Sankhya. 33, we have already seen the images of 5 types, Vitya, Panchaya, Klishta, Klishta. Now statement 34, the original statement, and now I have sent you all these things so you can check it yourself. The 34th statement, Tannivyatto. I will read out what is called segments of it because in Sanskrit, many terms are put together, then it looks like a big term. So that can be very difficult for anybody to decipher. So I will do what is, I will say, make small segments. So here first part is tat. Tat meaning that. That is what those 5 types of images we talked in 33rd. So, you have to read the book. That's why I've sent you the original Yoga and Sankhya so that you can see the sequencing and understand the flowchart the author has in mind. So Tat refers to the previous statement that was talking about 5 types of images. Nivyato. Nivyato means getting rid of it, cessation of. So those images, if I get rid of that, upshanta, shant you mean, no, you are then in tranquil state, in very peaceful, calm state. Upshanto, so you achieve a kind of calm mind. And further on, upayaga, rag was one of the klesha, so even rag will be diminishing. So if you practice that cessation of these images, then you will obtain a calm mind and also by and by gradually the rag which is residing in the nearby unit of Ahamkara, that will also diminish. And then what will happen? Swastha. This is also a compound word. You are then established. Stha means stationed. Swa means self. Now you are stationed in self. So what that means is now the Purush, otherwise Purush is watching the Buddhi, intellect unit, whatever it is exhibiting. Now when all this disappears, then Purush has an opportunity to know itself, kind of self-realization. You are stationed in your own self. Statement number 35. Sorry, let me read what I wrote here in English. Upon cessation of theirs, means the Vrttis, Buddhi is calm and void of contaminants, thence Purush is established in self. So that is the meaning of this statement. 35, Sank 35. Original statement is Kusum Vat Cha Mani. Kusum means a flower. What means as if it is like a likewise, like. Mani means a crystal glass, something like a diamond kind of a thing, a crystal glass which is very pure. So now he's saying Purush, he's talking about Purush. Purush is like crystal glass. Just because Purush, the self, is watching intellect, then he is saying there is a particular relationship between the Purush and his instrument. So, now he's talking. So 34th statement was that if this is a blank screen, then I am established in self. Now he's saying, when there are images here, then what happens? So he's saying, when even images are here, your true nature does not change. So then he gives an example, which is a worldly example, that crystal glass, if there is a flower in front of crystal glass, say the flower is red color, the crystal glass adopts that red color. But if you remove the flower, then that red color is gone. So it appears that it has become red, but actually there is no change taking place. It remains what it is. So he's saying, the author is trying to tell us, these five kind of images, they just have a job to display for his awareness, for his knowledge, but they don't change the character of the Purush. So all of us are alike. Our Purush, this unit is identical, even that with in an animal or bird, etc. It doesn't change. So he's giving an example of crystal glass. It just appears that crystal glass has become red, but crystal glass did not change and it didn't go through any manifestation. So he is telling us that you don't change just because your intellect displays this and that or things like that. Next statement 36. Sorry, let me read the English translation. Crystal glass adopts the color of the flower in its vicinity, yet remains unchanged. Number 36, original statement is Purushartham Karanodbhava api adhyashta ullasa. So there are a lot of components here. I will read it again. Purushartham, meaning it is for the benefit of Purush. So the way intellect functions, actually it is for the benefit of Purush. Then all these five types of images, Vrttis he is talking about. So he's saying Karan Udbhav. Karan is instruments. So there are so many instruments. They give rise to the birth of these five types of images or Vrttis. Api, there is a term here. Api means also. There is another way these appear. Like for example, when I sleep, I have dreams. My eyes are closed, still it displays something. So those kind of situation, he is saying api adhyast ullasa. Adhyast is something which we don't know, but is residing somewhere in our mind. Obviously, he's talking Ahamkara now, because that is the next unit. So he's saying ullasat means it just pops out for no reason that we can attribute to. Like in dreams, what kind of dream I had last night, nobody can say what dream I will have later tonight when I go to sleep. It just something happens, like water bubbles in or waves in the ocean. They just happen. They just keep on happening. So this is what it is. The English translation, Vrttis. So I am translating Vrttis as images, but I have told you the word image should be five-dimensional image, not just visual image. So Vrttis arise for the sake of Purush from, now there are two origins, its sensory organs, live, and B, for no particular reason, as in dreams, from Adhyashta, sanskar from the past lives. This is in playback mode. So when it says past life, it also includes the current life. Adhyashta means they are invisible. We don't quite know what all is residing in our mind. Nobody knows it exactly. So that's why it is called Adhyashta, invisible. Right? It cannot be seen. So this is English translation of 36. Very important translation. Here also the modern authors have missed out the role of Ahamkara. Very, very sad situation. 36. Let's go to 37 now. Original statement is Dhenu Vat Vatsaya. There are two terms here. Dhenu Vat, as a cow does, Vatsaya, for its calf. So again, something is being told to us that what all this happens, the images with these appearing on our mind, you know, all this happens naturally, just like naturally when the calf comes to in the vicinity of the cow, mother cow, then the cow begins to secrete milk for the calf. So this is naturally happening. In the same manner, our intellect displays all these kind of vittis in a way. That is what it is. So here again, modern commentators have just literally translated, but I am writing in a square bracket something that let us read it. So of course, most of the writers are just writing literal translation as a cow secretes milk for a calf. But I am Kapil is a genius, so why did he could have given many kinds of natural events like clouds make the rain, so to say. He could have given many kinds of examples where naturally things are happening in a cyclic manner. But he gives here cow and calf for a good reason that both are living beings, they are conscious living being. So I will say likewise, Ishwar. So look at the cow as Ishwar, who is a conscious being, and we are his children. We are like a calf for him. So now I will say the meaning here is Ishwar originates this Vrttis in dual mode, as we have seen in statement 36, for us to obtain the rewards of karma and liberation, bhog and upward. So cow does what is required for calf, but Ishwar is making our mind function in such a complex and in such a high-speed manner so that we get what we call as bhog and upward. These two terms will come in Yog Darshan second chapter, where he says why the world exists, why I have to come into this world, because I have to experience the rewards of certain actions I did in previous life, and I have an opportunity that is called bhog, and I have an opportunity to get away from this cycle of birth and death. So, you know, I will say cow is Ishwar and calf is we human beings. Now, next statement number 38. The original statement. Now there is things about manas that was not much covered in the last week, but now manas is coming here. The 38 statement is saying karanam. Karan, as I said previously, means all the instruments. Teyodasha, 13. Vidham, 13 types, 13 kinds. They all are different. Avanta Bhedat, they are different because some are outside, some will connect us to the outside world, some connect us to the inner world, etc. etc. The English translation, there are 13 instruments, intellect, storehouse, linkage that we have seen last week, plus 5 sensory organs and 5 motor organs, differing in their functions. So this is a very powerful statement, which we will use about a couple of weeks later, that chitta, like Patanjali is saying, yogas chitta vritti niyod, chitta cannot be a 14th instrument. It has to be one of these 13. And of course, one of these three, Buddhi, Ahamkara, and Manas, intellect, store. So that's it. That is the picture. So let's move on to 39 now. Indriyeshu. Indriya is a word for organ, which can be the sensory organ or motor organs. Now he's talking about, so you see the sequence is outside. The 33rd statement last week was Buddhi. Then it is Buddhi. And then when we said playback mode, then it is Ahamkara. And now he's talking about 13 instruments and manas and those 30. So we are coming outward direction, where these Vrttis are coming from. So now this is the first part. I said in the previous slide, the Vrttis are the live as well as 36 statement. Vrttis are live as well as playback. Now he is talking about live. So you have to understand the flow chart. So in that sequence, now he's talking about the live Vrttis that come from all the 13 instruments are participating. So 39th statement is saying in the issue, there are sensory organs in particular, sadhak tamatva. Sadhak means they enable it. Tam is a suffix, is a superlative degree. So my sensory organs have their enabling power, which is superior type, which is absolutely superb. Sadhak tamattu. Like my chakshu indi. In my case, I use my eyeglasses, of course. I use my eyeglasses uh, because of myopia. I cannot see something at a long distance away, distant object. But my chakshu, that indi, which is the inlet port and the linkage, that is perfect. And that is perfect for all the species, all animals, birds, human beings. That is what Kapil is trying to say. That inlet port and its ability to acquire from optic nerves, the inner side is perfect. Now, something may go wrong in my lens here or in optic nerves, etc., etc. That signal may not reach there, or it may not, maybe defective signal, blurred image or something like that. But Kapil is assuring us that Chakshu Indi is perfect, all that is. So in the issue, sadhak tamatva gun yoga, and that particular ability, like the Chakshu has the ability to interpret the optical data signals, that characteristics has been embedded into it. Gun yoga, that particular characteristics is embedded into it, and it at the most superior level. But then he adds finally a word, a term very interesting, kuthavat. Kutha means an axe. So, but all these sensory organs are like an axe. So let us read this statement here, then you get it. It's a very powerful statement, has a lot of implications. Let's read it. Organs, which are 5 plus 5, possess perfection in their respective functions as an axe. So as an axe has a double meaning here. Of course, an axe has a ability to cut wood, and also there is another meaning which I am amplifying that also has been missed out by modern commentators, sadly. Very bad. Let's see. Organs can be easily set aside as an axe when not in use. That is very important to say. Why is he saying Kuthavat? He is saying because he has two things in mind. Of course, axe has the ability to cut the wood. Next is axe. If you don't want to cut wood, it doesn't have to be used. It can be lying aside in a corner. It just lies there. You don't have to use it. So what he is showing us, the live Vrttis that come from 5 sensory organs and end up at our intellect, their sensory organs do not have to send the live Vrttis because they are like an axe. If you don't want to cut wood, you don't handle, you don't pick up the axe, is it not? So it is very relatively easy to make these live Vrttis disappear. Like you close your eyes or you just make a darkness, you switch off your lights in your room, or you go to a quiet corner, it is easy enough to get rid of live images that are coming from the world. So by implication, the other one, the adjust api ullasat that we saw in the previous slide, the playback mode, this was the statement. Api adjust ullasat, the playback mode, they are the difficult ones. And that is why Kapil and Patanjali have written these books. So let me read it. Organs can be easily set aside as an X when not in use. In other words, cessation of the live images, Vrttis of group A is achieved easily, can be achieved easily. That should be. Next statement number 40. Now manas is being described. Dvayo, for both of them, both meaning here, now the indriya. So you have to see what is the sequence. We are talking about organs. Now there are two types of organs, sensory organs and motor organs, Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. So dvayo pradhanam. For both types of organs, principal unit is manas. The manas organ, which we have translated as linkage from functionality point of view, because it links mind with the body, the other organs. So he's saying for both types of sensory and motor organs, manas, the linking device, is the principal unit. Then he gives an example. Lokvad, as you see in the world, what do you see? Bhitya Vargeshu. Bhit is your servants or aides or your, those who are assistants, those who are supposed to assist you, and a group of them. If there is a group of servants here, then you employ a manager. Suppose you are a very rich man and you have a big mansion house and all, you have 30 or 40 people who gardener, cook, and all kinds of people to make your life easy. But then you are not likely to talk to each of them. You appoint a manager. So now you are the owner, you are the master, and you have discussed, you deal with a manager, and manager will pass on your instructions to them individually, interact with them. This is not. So that is the role of Manas. He is like a supervisor for 5 plus 5, 10 organs. So English translation I am reading for the statement 40. For them here meaning indriyas, which are sensory and motor organs. The linkage is the principal one as seen in the world supervisor of a group of aides. So that was statement number 40. Now we move to 41. So we are talking about here sensory organs, motor organs, and their supervisor or manager is that linking device. Now the statement number 41 is very simple. It's called avyabhichara. Those who can pick up some Sanskrit, the root is cha. Cha is to obtain, like Gai Ghas Charti hai, that sort of words we have. Now there are three upsarg, yani prefixes. One is abhi, then it is vi, then it is a. Abhi meaning well designed, vi meaning very special, or and a meaning negation. So what he is saying is all this is so well designed for a specific purpose and it cannot be disobeyed. So final or is negation. It cannot be. What it means is he is emphasizing that signals from sensory organ cannot bypass linking device and somehow end with Ahamkara or Buddhi. They cannot go like that. Again, if I go to the diagram, this signal cannot bypass it and can go direct here or here. It has to be, this is the pipeline. So the English translation reads, the images, Vrttis of group A, that is the discussion, the live ones, cannot bypass the linkage to each intellect. Now we are in the group B part, what is Api Adhyast Ullasa, the playback mode, that is what we are more concerned about. Then, of course, in the title, I have said it is from Storehouse. That is very obvious from the discussion, because discussion about manas is over. So now it has to be about, now the next Ahamkara. So these things have been left out by modern comment. I don't know how did they do. They did a lot of injustice to Kapil. Statement 42, the original statement goes, Tatha. Tatha means likewise, in the same manner. Then there is a term Ashesh. Ashesh meaning there is no end to it. There is no leftover. It is endless. What is endless? Sanskar. So sanskar we have discussed is impatience of past things. Past, what are the things? Knowledge, experience, and action. All those are leaving an impatience, and they are well catalogued in the library of Ahamkara unit, what we are calling as a storehouse. Dharatvat means it is holding it. So the group B, let me read the English translation. Likewise, the images Vrttis of group B, each intellect as storehouse stores the endless sanskar. So of course they emanate from storehouse, the playback mode, and storehouse, the Ahamkara unit, has so many impressions nobody can be, because this is from not the preceding life, but all the past life. There may be thousands of life cycles I might have gone through, millions, I don't know. So all those sanskars are residing in my mind, and they may pop out and send something to the Buddhi unit when I am seemingly not doing much active. Like at this point, you are using your Buddhi intellect. Then it is in the storehouse is quiet. It is cooperating with you, only sending out what is related to this discussion so you can make sense. But when we are just quiet, nothing is happening, then many things come out, is it not? This is all we are aware of in meditation, in dreams, and even in day-to-day life. If you just sit in your chair, just close your eyes, then many things come in your mind. So that's what Ahamkara is doing. Statement number 43. Now somebody may say, how come all this is in Ahamkara? Where, why is this coming? Where is it coming? Why indeed it is coming from? Past life thing I am not even aware of. How can I know it? Then Kapil is now emphasizing a specific thing by saying Smriti, the memory, the day-to-day memory. Like 1 hour ago you did something, whatever you did, or you talked to somebody, or you ate something, you were drinking something, you know the taste. And yesterday and a couple of years ago. So in the present life, many things we have gone through, and that memory is residing somewhere. So he's saying just like that memory is residing of the current life, there is much more than that. So you cannot deny. So what he's saying is, here the statement is smriti. That is one term, anumanat. It is inferred, cha. So what he's saying is, you of course, you cannot deny your memory. From the memory, it is inferred that not only the present life event, but even past life, they are residing somewhere, because many things come out in my mind and I cannot correlate with things that have happened in the present life. So that might have happened I don't know when did it happen, but something comes up in my mind sometime. So he's saying this cannot be denied, because this can be easily inferred from the present life memory that nobody can deny in the world. And then that is translated as, that is furthermore inferred by Smriti, memory of the present life. Statement 44. Now he's saying, Sambhavet na. There are two terms here, Sambhavet na. Na means not, no. Swata by itself. So what he's saying is, appearance of memory on intellect. Now he's saying this cannot, Buddhi itself cannot do it. Buddhi is just displaying that momentarily thing. It cannot store the what has happened. Like you are drinking a cup of tea now, Buddhi gives you the taste of tea that you are sipping at this moment. But you remember the taste of the tea you had yesterday. Now that cannot be in Buddhi, because Buddhi is busy with the current images only. It can just display, like my laptop screen can just display something that I wish, but it doesn't store anything. So he's again saying the past things cannot be in intellect by itself. It has to be somewhere, and linking device is busy with the live data. So the only possibility is Ahamkara. So he's arguing from many fish, but I wonder, all the people have missed out this important part. I don't know why Ahamkara has not. Maybe I should show you. Look, maybe if I have time today, I will try to do something about Ishwar Krishna. Okay, let's see. This is slide. Okay, statement 45. The original statement, apekshiko, relatively speaking, gun pradhan bhava. There is a particular characteristics associated with an instrument and kriya visheshat. What is happening in our day-to-day life that points to some particular peculiar characteristic of something, and that cannot be denied. So again, he's saying, I am translating as, indeed, an instrument other than intellect must store sanskar for the images with each of group B in playback mode to appear on it. This has to happen from somewhere. So he's again saying sanskar must be stored in ahamkara. Okay, let's move on. Now we are very close to the last two statement, 46. Now he's saying, you know, why past life and all, why are they residing, etc. so much, you know, like things have happened in the past life and they are affecting me in the present life. Why all this? How do you correlate it? It is, somebody may say, somebody born in a very poor family or somebody born with a heart defects or bone marrow defects. There are all kinds of possibly situations. And then he can say, why did it happen to me? So he is saying, statement number 46, whatever sanskar. Now the previous word was sanskar. So you have to follow the flow chart properly. So because it is beginning with tat. Tat means that, what that? The sanskar he is talking about. So he's saying, somebody may say, why the hell there is so much of sanskar of so many lives in my ahamkara unit? Then he's saying, tat karmajit tatvat. Karmajit means you have earned by your actions. That tatvad artham, karmajit tatvat tadartham. Tadartham. Let me, just a minute, I am trying to figure out. Tat karmajit tatvat tadartham abhicheshta lokvat. Okay, tat is coming twice, so we have to be careful. First tat is for the sanskar, and another tat is coming in the inside. That is for the purush, purushartham. Now instead of purushartham, it is here tadartham. Abhicheshta. Abhicheshta is there, some sort of effort is being made. So what is it? He is saying that Ahamkara stores all these sanskars from the current life as well as past lives and does something, namely popping out the images and displaying it on your intellect, buddhi. This is what is the meaning of all this. Is it is doing because you only have earned it. Karmajit. Your actions have earned them. Because when you do some action, that gives an impression. So you do something and that's what is being stored as its impressions. If it was not stored, you will never learn driving. You will never learn anything in life, you know, because we learn things not only in action mode, in knowledge mode or anything, because we do it repeatedly and their impressions are becoming stronger and stronger. So I can do certain activities almost in subconscious mode. That way I have more time to think more important issues. Otherwise, we will be, I don't know, we will not be an active, efficient human being. We cannot imagine what we would be if our mind did not do all this, what Kapil is describing. So he's saying you cannot complain about all this because this is what you have earned by your, so you in the current life or you in the past life, it is always the you. So your bank balance is same. These are all your, you have been carrying with you from one life to another life. Then he says, Lokvat, as you see in the world, let's read it fully, then you will understand. So that sanskar have been earned by Purush, or I have put Purush for the Tad here, and for him only they give rise to Vrttis as seen in the world. Now, what is seen in the world? We see that people perform karma performed by the instruments being reward to Purush. So, I do something with my hand. Uh, a good thing, I made something in my kitchen. But who gets the taste? My hand doesn't get the taste. I enjoy the taste of the food, isn't it? So he's saying that this is very common in life. You do certain things with the instruments, your instruments, but finally the rewards come to you. So in the same manner, now you cannot complain. You cannot have one way go that all good things come to me, but bad things don't come to me. So it is total, this is the package. All that you do, what we say, what goes around comes around. So this is law of karma is seen in the world and everybody knows it. Now this is on the larger framework, all kinds of sanskar, knowledge and this and this. So they are also there, not only just the karma sanskar. Finally, he ends this chapter by saying, Saman karma yoge buddhi pradhanyam lokvat lokvat. Lokvat has come quite a few times today. Lokvat meaning as seen in the world. Twice it comes when he is ending the chapter, then he puts the term twice. Now, what is the significant part? He's saying Saman Karma Yoga. So, what he's saying is this is a teamwork, this is a pipeline. So, everybody works, does his part. So, yoga means they are adding up. So, the whole team is working and it adds up, gives rise to finally those Vrttis, both in live mode as in playback mode. They are very good for your day-to-day life. But when you want to know your own self, that highest wisdom of Vivekyati, then you have to learn how to get rid of all these kind of images and Vrttis. So if you know their origin, where do they come from, then it may be easier for you to get rid of them. Okay, so we have covered the Sankhya second chapter in reasonably good detail. All the concepts have come out very well. And what should I say? Uh, Let me see. I was wondering if I can. Yeah, okay. I can. So this I wanted to show you. This is Sanskrit diacritics, you know, that because Sanskrit phonetics is very strong, Devanagari, but English alphabet, Roman alphabets are very limited. So there is a scheme. So this is Wikipedia. If you just do International Alphabet of Sanskrit Transliteration. So there is a part. So you might be wondering, like Chitta, I am writing in English in Roman transliteration as CITTA. So why? Some people will think I should have done it with CH, etc. But you can see the sound cha, the protocol has the, what should I say? This is a kind of scheme. A scheme has C, alphabet C is for cha. So I am following this, but then there are certain diacritical sign like for da, I should have D and then a point, a dot below that. But I must, like in Shaddarshan, I should have mentioned, I should have done S with a dot, then A for A, then da, D with a dot. But I have not been able to, just too busy, so to say, but next time we will improve it. So my slides, I am following this scheme, but not totally, that I am not putting those signs yet, but I am following the transliteration. The other thing I wanted to show you is Sankhya Kaika. I hope you are able to see this. Sankhya Kaika. Oh no, I don't have to show it to, so I can stop share. This because I was wanting to tell you about. Let me switch on the light. It's very dark here. Okay, I was just talking about Ahamkara, and I am very upset with the modern commentators. So, but I have seen. I'm not a historian. I have seen, and I will show you in the next slide sometime. Ishwar Krishna, who is author of Sankhya, he has attributed Ahamkara correctly. And I was just interested in showing you his timeline. I think his year is about 300 AD or something like that. So 600 AD. I was trying to check it. Maybe next time I will do that. So Ishwar Krishna is translating Ahamkara as Storehouse. So it's not my new discovery. This is what is classically known, and I will show you by Vyasa also. Uh, so it's not my imagination or it was there in classical times, but in modern times, it has been missed out, and that has been very, very bad. Okay. Sorry again, we are late, but okay. A very quick, because very quick, yeah, I wanted to add a unit. I wanted to add a improvement to our scheme of meditation. Let's look at some comments from Maharishi Dayanand, the Satyat Prakash chapter 3 about pranayama. I will just read it fast. Method of pranayama. As in the act of vomiting, all the contents of the stomach are violently expelled, so should the breath be expired forcibly and held out. There is a typo here, and held out as long as possible by drawing up the pelvic viscera, what is called Muladhara Chakra. This is writing in translation to Yog Darshan, first chapter is Samadhi Pad, statement number 38. Original statement is Vachadan Vidharanabhyam. Okay, now he says, when discomfort is felt, the air should be gently inspired. So this is about expelling the air forcibly, and then he's saying held out as long as possible. How long? Once the onset of discomfort is there, then you should begin inspiration, take in the air, and this process should be repeated according to one's desire and strength. This exalts the purity of the soul and develops concentration of mind. By the increase of body strength and bodily strength and activity, the intellect becomes so subtle that it can easily grasp the most abstruse and profound subject. It also helps to preserve and perfect the reproductive element in the human, which in its turn produces self-control, firmness of mind, strength, energy, and acuteness of intellect. Girls as well as boys should practice pranayama. So that was his. So that way we will modify our scheme today. So our step number 2, the regulated breathing, disciplined breathing, translation for pranayama. We'll have breathing cycle with 4 phases. As I have read out, that will be implemented, but will be short meditation. So actual meditation, I will have only 5 minutes, but let me explain. So as we enter into step number 4, I will switch on my timer. That will be 5 minutes. And we may devote a couple of minutes in step 1, 2, and 3. So let's take a good posture. Be very comfortable. That is our step number 1. And in step number 2, today we are modifying the regulated breathing. Please follow as I speak out. We will do 3 cycles, each breathing cycle with 4 phases. And here it begins. Deep breathe out. Your abdomen should be sinking inward. Now hold the breath out. This is phase 2. As if the system is airtight, no air goes in or comes out. At the onset of discomfort, breathe in now. Abdomen should expand outward. Now hold the breath within. Again, system is airtight. And at the onset of discomfort, we'll move to the second cycle. The second cycle, deep breathe out. Abdomen going inward. Hold the breath out now. Deep breathe in now. Abdomen expanding outward. Hold the breath within now. System is airtight. Now the third and final cycle. Deep breathe out. Now hold the breath out. System is airtight. Deep breathe in. Abdomen is expanding outward. Now hold the breath within. Now we let the breathing go by itself. We are no more concerned about breathing. It's in automated mode now. This is very important to know in our particular scheme. As we enter into phase of meditation, we are unconcerned about breathing. Okay, now step 3. But before I go to step 3, 4 words, the 4 phases of breathing cycle. If you know it, it's okay. Otherwise, just for your awareness, The four phases, the phase one, when we breathe out, it is called Rechak. When I hold the breath out, it is called Bahya Kumbhak. Kumbh means a vessel, as a Bahya means outward, as if I have filled an outside vessel with my breath. And when I do deep breathe in, that is called Purak. And when I hold the breath within, that is called Abhi Kumbhak. Now the vessel is within. Now we are in step 3, as we are following this particular slide, oral recitation. Now I begin my timer, and let us recite that sound, Pranav Dhwani, 3 times orally, and then continue with this mental recitation. Objective is blank mind. If it is not blank, it should be only the mental recitation of the sound and nothing else. Here it begins. Om. Om. Om.
हाँ. Did you put kettle water in this? या वो करना होता है.
Oh, no. So that concludes our fourth session. If there is any question or
Acharya is regarding the breathing sequence, Rechak and Purak. Is it necessary that one has to exhale first, or we can start with inhale first as well?
well, as we saw it, the description sequence was from exhalation.
Okay.
But of course, you can say it is cyclic. So, but common sense or natural rhythm-wise, I think this makes sense. You first empty, then only you can fill up. Is it not? So,
Okay.
that's the way sequence is.
Namaste, Dr. Harish. I would like to
Namaste.
ask a question about A, U, Ma, and Om. Some meditational instances are using the syllable A, U, M, and the silence. They also based that modern science is saying the vibration of that cause your head area, your brain to vibrate at a certain frequency to give you certain essence of living. I'll use that loosely. So what's the difference between Om and A, U, Ma? Because Arya Samaj kind of promotes Om rather than A, U, Ma.
Well, the natural sound is a monosyllable, that is Om, and that has a
like the Mandukya Upanishad, you know, in relation to that, that in context to that.
yeah, they are analyzing the sound and trying to tell us this sound embodies everything almost, things like that. But that is a theoretical framework for this sound, which is true, but as far as we are concerned, adopting it for in a meditation scheme, we are following from Patanjali, and then we are not quite going into the detail of what does this sound come from. And of course, O is in Sanskrit grammar is a mix, is a vowel, but not quite an independent vowel. It is a mix of A and U. So that sort of analysis is you are referring to, but I don't think that is relevant in this particular course or in our scheme. You know, in our scheme, we are just following this sound and trying to do it as Patanjali, because he's saying Tasya Vachaka Pranam Tad Japas Tadad Bhavanam. So this is our guiding line. Is that okay?
I'll take that for now. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question or comment?
Can I ask about the slide that you put up talking about the breathing process. And I don't remember exactly what it said, but it referred to a few different things. And one in the second paragraph, it talked about strength of the body or something. It's almost like referring to exercise. I don't know if you could put that slide back up. I could just ask about that.
Yeah, that was, let's see.
Maharshi Dayanand slide, sir. He is referring to, yeah.
Yeah. So particularly the last full paragraph talks about by the increase of bodily strength and activity,
And
the intellect becomes,
so subtle that
yeah. What is it referring to there? Because we're not.
This particular English translation is not very rigorously well done. What he's trying to say actually is, if the pranayama is followed properly, he is emphasizing the need of pranayama, then the other things will come out, like your meditation practice, etc., etc. And that in turn will be is referred to in this particular paragraph, and not just the pranayama. Then he's saying your physique will be good, strength, and your intellect is also more capable of grasping the subtle subjects. It also, this is pranayama plus meditation, which is preceded by pranayama. All this will give rise to these kind of benefits. Do you have a particular word in mind? What in this paragraph?
No, I think what he's referring to is how it is related to physical strength, right? What I understand, this pranayama is definitely good to calm down the mind. And I see that the prana is definitely is related to the mind thing, because
that's why
pranayama,
physical body strength is saying, in day-to-day life we are aware of it. If you are doing some manual exertion, or look at a weightlifter. If a weightlifter is about to lift a weight, before that, they synchronize with their breathing pattern. That, they will not just lift the weight. Their breathing must be in such a manner that it facilitates them to lift the weight.
Yeah.
So they always synchronize it. Even in our case, so, and it is known. This can be easily accepted, that if you do pranayama well or properly, then your capacity to lift weight or whatever, that is what his bodily strength is referring to, that may be enhanced.
Okay. Okay. And then if I could just ask one other question. In the first paragraph, talk about the method, and it suggests the breath be expired forcibly. Is that? I'm just wondering, because when we do pranayama, we're not pushing the breath out hard.
Unnatural manner. Sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you. Forcibly is not in an unnatural manner. What he's saying is, there is in the lowest part of the abdomen, typically our breathe out is happening by itself, but that is very shallow. The air of certain, even maybe not all the lungs, not all the parts of the lungs may be evacuated. But when we are regulating our breathing, that is consciously we are influencing our breathing, then he is suggesting you dig very deep. So in the deepest part, in the lowest part of abdomen, as if you want to draw out air from the lowest part, So that is kind of his suggestion. So, does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I guess if you interpret it like that, I suppose in the current society, if you like, sometimes when you see pranayama, you see people blowing hard, breathing very unnaturally, and I could see that coming out from looking at this statement, suggesting I should be, pushing like really hard my breath.
Yeah, I am also not. In the name of pranayama, all sorts of things are going on, but we are actually interested in meditation, and this is a what is called peripheral. It is called upakayama. Peripheral is part of Bahyang Yoga, but nevertheless it is important. So today what we have done is, last couple of weeks we were just doing breathe out and breathe in, and I did say let abdomen movement be synchronized. But today we have introduced that kumbhak part. So that is what is in accordance with Patanjali. Patanjali is also saying there are 4 types of pranayama, and those are at least the first three have been covered in today's breathing cycle. So what we have done today is fairly in accordance with Patanjali's guideline. And I don't think we will do any more with respect to this. So we are not doing pranayama, what Hatha Yoga people may be interested in. We don't, this is enough that what we have discussed now. So
Also,
here
I would
there
like
is not much of, the emphasis was at the onset of discomfort. So you don't want to do anything forcibly or unnaturally. So these 4 phases are quite reasonable. Of course, a common man on the street may think that there are only 2 phases, breathe out and breathe in. And Kavindji just mentioned, why can it not be breathe in and breathe out? So the layperson has many other ideas. But what we have done today is incorporating Patanjali's scheme in more or less in total manner, that it should have 4 phases, and that will allow, if you do the Bahi Kumbhak, then you are maintaining the vacuum for a while. So the remaining foul air which needs to be thrown out is more likely to get thrown out in the next cycle. So I will say this, what we have done today is not unnatural or very forcible. And I personally don't borrow much from Hatha Yoga. Nothing at all. I don't know anything about Hatha Yoga.
Actually, Acharyaji, this breathing in Hatha Yoga, most of the exercises start with the taking in.
No, that I will not.
So this is totally different.
For
actually.
me,
Yeah.
For me, breathe out is more common sense.
Yeah. But Hatha Yoga,
just like any system, you are traveling by a bus, probably people alight from the bus before new passengers go in. It's very common sense, And
So,
if somebody wants then the evidence is Vishwani Dev Savita Duitani Payasua Yad Bhadamtam. First is you want unwanted things to go out, then you have enough room or space or wanted stuff for desirable things to come in.
Also, I would like to add that when we exhale, we are exhaling carbon dioxide, which is impure air. And when we inhale, it is more of oxygen, which is pure air. So that also makes sense that you want to exhale the dirty thing first and then inhale the pure thing next.
But I will not make it an issue because, it's cyclic. So just after a while, it becomes, once it is cyclic, who started first is meaningless. But we are doing usually just 3 to 5 cycles. So We want every cycle to be proper on the line.
So I don't understand this meaning of Hatha Yoga that people use, because I think the yoga is Ashtanga Yoga. Basically, you go from physical self to the prana, then mind, then intellect, and then the self, right? You go toward the upward journey. That is the whole yoga thing, right? Union. So what is Hatha Yoga? I don't understand that.
Hatha yoga, I don't do hatha yoga, but
Because
whatever
what we
people
do is
do in a
Ashtanga
typical yoga
Yoga.
class, whatever people do in a typical yoga class, that is hatha yoga.
That is asanas, right?
Yeah. Asana, breathing
Yeah,
exercises.
asana, you know what you said, your first statement, Patanjali yoga is Ashtanga yoga. Actually, that is not correct statement. We will come to that. You know,
Okay, because
we will come to that.
okay, no problem.
I mean, just on that point, I think the Hatha Yoga, as I understand it, and I've done a Hatha Yoga course. My understanding is that Hatha Yoga is, let's say, 300 years old, something like that. So as yoga, as you have the Vedas, Upanishads, Samkhya, Patanjali, and then 1,000 years later, you know, more modern, you have the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which is like the book of Hatha Yoga. And there they take asana and pranayama, and they pull those two strands out of Patanjali Yoga, and they create their own system of Hatha Yoga, which is, I think it's supposed to be by physical effort you can reach a yoga by these exercises and incorporating breathing. So that's their approach. They kind of borrow the terms and they create a different system based on exercise. And I think it's like a much more modern
Okay,
approach.
You're right, actually. Because
let's look at it from Patanjali point of view. You said that Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga has asanas and Hatha Yoga people are doing asana. But Patanjali's definition of asana is Sthir Sukham Asanam. You know, he wants a asana, a body posture for meditation, and guideline is it should be unwavering and comfortable. Now, Hatha Yoga asana has nothing to do with this definition of asana. They are just postures. So they have borrowed the Patanjali's term of asana, but using in a wrong manner. So Patanjali's definition is unwavering and comfortable posture. Now, there are hundreds of, so-called asana. They are not comfortable for meditation purpose. So they are not, meeting the Patanjali's definition. They should not be called as asana. They are just postures,
posture.
Asana by definition is Sthir Sukham Asanam. That is comfortable posture that facilitates you to sit for meditation.
Yeah. So basically, what I understand, Ashtanga Yoga is basically yam, niyam, asanas, pranayam, pratyahara, concentration, meditation, and the samadhis. These are the 8 components of the Ashtanga Yoga, right? Yam is do, and niyam, yam is do not, and niyam is do. Then asanas, then pranayam, then pratyahara, then concentration, then meditation, and then samadhi. That's the 8 part, right? So basically, what I understand, the people take pranayam part and asanas part as they call it Hatha Yoga.
Yeah, we are not concerned about all this. It is very simple. Asana pranayam in Patanjali's scheme is a peripheral activity to go further to something else.
Yeah, that is the part, that is the last part is samadhi, right?
It is not strict, if you are a proficient meditation practitioner, asana pranayam loses its relevance in the later phases of meditation practice. That's why I said Patanjali's yoga is not Ashtanga yoga. As you will learn a few weeks from now, Patanjali has considered yoga in his first chapter, Kriya Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. I slightly alluded to all this previously. Patanjali's is exclusively not Ashtanga Yoga. Patanjali's scheme is threefold, namely Yoga, Kriya Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga. And it will take some time for you. Some weeks later we will cover all this. Why he has 3 prescriptions, why there are 3 kinds of people, and all those things. You know, these things are not well known. That's why you are not aware of. Not your fault. But this course is supposed to clear all the gaps, clear up the gaps and misinformations. So this is a wrong statement to say Patanjali's scheme is Ashtanga Yoga for all. This is one of his 3 schemes. So Asana Pranayam is not there in yoga and nor in Kriya Yoga. And in Sankhya there is a statement, Sthi Sukham Asanam na niyama. You know, asana and pranayam are very, very peripheral things.
Mm-hmm.
That can be. That's why it is called Bahirang Yoga. It is for like you teach certain things to a primary school, some basics,
Mm-hmm.
but that is
Yeah,
many people
so
don't. Many people are not required. You know, they are
mhm.
like this statement we saw from Satyat Prakash today. That is coming from first chapter. It's not coming from Ashtanga Yoga. It is actually Prachadan Vidharanabhyam Va. Now here the pranayam is what? Simple deep breathe out. Like in our session 1 we did simple breathe out, deep breathe out. That's it. That was the pranayam.
Mhm.
So Hatha Yoga is Hatha Yoga. We are not concerned with it. We don't blame them. If somebody likes it, do it. No. But typically I will say Hatha Yoga is for health, whereas this is for healthy people. But of
Yeah.
course, Patanjali Yoga, even if you are healthy, but we don't want to emphasize it. But we tell you the fact of the matter is, if you pick up Patanjali Yoga, whatever we are teaching here in the name of meditation, your inner health, the what is called actual health, the ability to be in equilibrium, the whole system, that will improve. But we
Yeah.
don't tell anybody, you do yoga, this Patanjali yoga meditation practice for your health. You know,
Yeah. So
these
basically,
are,
they're just
this is
saying that.
incidental. These are side effects. You know.
Yeah. So
But
basically, the
those
people
who
they
teach
just.
Hatha Yoga, their primary focus is health and whatever it is, physical.
Yeah. No, people, for example, they're just saying that healthy mind lives in a healthy body. So if your mind is healthy, body is going to be healthy.
It's a both affect each other. Body
Yeah.
affects mind, mind affects
Yeah.
body. Yeah,
Yeah.
but here it is different in the sense, you know, in meditation, firstly, I don't know what you understand by meditation. So we are always saying again and again, meditation, I mean ekagya. You know, I'm saying again and again, what else can I do? So when you practice this meditation, what I am trying to teach, what I think Patanjali and Kapil were trying to teach us, if you pick up this meditation practice, then you know the system, because we are talking about very innermost things, you know, and when we are able to go inward until, you know, Buddhi and Ahamkara and that level, if certain changes are taking place, then those changes will show up in outer body also in a positive manner. But this is at a very high level. So we don't want to confuse people that if you do Patanjali Yoga meditation practice, you will become healthy. We don't want to say that. But if you do Patanjali Yoga meditation practice, as we are trying to learn from this course, I will say in a year, 2 years later, your physical health and appearance, etc., radiance from your face, things may change, will be better. Any other question or comment? Otherwise, I think we are time frame wise, we are okay. If nothing else, thank you very much for session number 4 and being here. We'll be again here next week. See you again. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, everybody. Have a good day.